I watched Dr. Edward Dutton's video this morning. Why is everyone so depressed these days? And well, I largely agree with a lot of the points he makes. I don't entirely agree with all of them. And I don't really feel he offered a practical solution. And so I kind of feel that he missed that. And so I'd like to offer one. Okay, so I'll start off. He says he's got this whole mutant thing, this idea about everyone being full of mutant genes because there's no selection pressure on the West. And this is the cause of all of our problems, basically. And people are, basically expressing mutant genes and not being very clever and making bad choices. But I disagree. I think selection is acting extremely hard on the West and Europeans at the moment. And I think you just have to look at the population rate, or crash in population, that's gone on in the last 100 years to see that. People are dying in very large numbers. And it's because, while we don't have maybe a predator in the natural world these days, like bears or wolves like we used to, and we don't have so many diseases killing people off, arguably, or parasites and so on, but we do still have a very powerful predator, and that is the powers that be. They are the ones that are killing people off. You just have to look at the number of people that communism killed in the last century, or just war, just governments in general killed in the last century. It's in the hundreds of millions. So the idea that there's no natural selection acting on humans at the moment is crazy, in my opinion. So Edward comes up with his long kind of list of things that he says that we need to do to solve the problems of depression and fix the West. And they include things like we've got to reverse the loss of status of the West and men in society. Europeans should be in control of their countries again. Immigration should be stopped. We should rebuild communities based around sameness and, I suppose, ethnocentricity. And okay, perhaps, certainly, if that's what people want, that's what they should have. But there's no solution there. That's just a list of things that, he wants or thinks people want. He then goes on to say that taxes should force a relative equality amongst the people, and I fundamentally disagree with that. I think taxes can never create equality. They can only create inequality. Taxes create a division in society between those who cannot break the law and those who can. It allows government to break the law. It makes a mockery of the idea that government is there to make and uphold the law if it's funded by a fundamental breach of the law. So tax is it's a self-contradiction. It's an oxymoron. It cannot do what it says on the tin. He actually then goes on to say we should have less meritocracy, and of course I would fundamentally disagree with that. We need more of it. The problem is a lack of merit in society, in the people themselves, and therefore in the institutions that they engender. He says we should get rid of political correctness and focus on truth, and I would agree with that, absolutely. That's true. He says we should fix education. I agree with that. We should do more exercise, and we should remove the contagious nihilists from power. And sure, I agree with all of that. However, still, there's no solution there. There's just a list of things that it would be nice to have. He also says we should elevate religiousness as one, part of the solution. But earlier in the video, he says that belief in God is a crutch. So in the same video, he's saying we should elevate religiousness, and at the same time, he's saying God doesn't exist; it's just a crutch for people. So that's a bit of a contradiction. So there's no real analysis, Ed, of the root cause. There's only really the symptoms there, and you've not come up with any mechanism to achieve any of the above. So I'd like to offer one. My analysis of the problems of Europeans in the West is fundamentally that they have become a godless people. They have a lack of virtue. It's this lack of virtue in the people themselves that is the problem. But they are full of sin, basically, in the kind of Christian. Well, although actually I'm going to make the point in a later video that the whole idea of the seven sins is a pagan concept, which predates Christianity, because there's nothing in it. There's nothing in the Bible about it, and there's an awful lot of stuff like this in Christianity that was taken from paganism, and just culturally appropriated. Anyway, so the problem is that Western Europeans, Westerners, even if they live in Australia, I suppose, they're arrogant and selfish. That's the problem. They're shallow thinkers. They latch onto ideology instead of thinking things through for themselves. They make themselves yin to authorities and ideologies. They're not men. If you make yourself yin to something, so that you don't have to take responsibility, and you don't have to be independent, you don't have to think things through for yourself, then you are acting, dishonourably. This is dishonourable and godless behaviour. It is the role of the man to be virtuous. The man is supposed to lead the family, and he's supposed to lead himself. He's not supposed to be subject to authorities or spurious emotions and self-interests. Let's put it that way. So the gods are nature. God is nature, or God created nature. God's Odin at the top, the prime creator, and he created the gods of nature via the Tao. And these are real things. They're not crutches. They're not just mere devices of the imagination. They're real things. It's just that people don't understand that because they don't see reality for what it is. They just believe ideologies, and they don't think things through for themselves. You can prove the existence of all of the gods if you use your own mind, if you do it yourself. But if you trust other people to do it for you, you'll just be wallowing around in darkness forever. So the solution is a return to paganism, because this is the true religion of the Europeans. This is our true way, this is our true spirit. And it's science. It's not just a religion, it's science. And that's what the true heart of paganism is. It's nature worship. And nature worship is the same as science. And that is what made the West and Europe great. It's the fact that their religion was the same as science. It's a unified system, which is true, because the pagan religion is based on the principles of science. In fact, this is where the principles of science come from the pagan religion. Because pagans love nature. They want to understand God's design, his creation. And so this is where all the true knowledge lies, and this is where the universal theory of everything truly lies, is in the Tao, the four elements, and the 7 days, as I explain in my channel. And this is all provable by logic and observation. This is not just a religion, it's science. I know I keep labouring the point, but anyway. So the true religion of Europeans, and the only thing that will save them, is to go back to Odinism, which is their true root. It's the religion of virtue and valour, of truth and reason, where truth and reason are worshipped as gods, as are virtue and valour, that sort of thing. Because they are true gods. Gods are concepts, they're spirits, and they're real. And it can be proven to anyone who has half a brain cell. So anyway, that's your solution right there. The solution to the problem of Europe's decline is a return to God in the form of paganism, because that is our true roots, and it is the thing that will bring us back to virtue and valour, and that will make the European people worth saving again. Because at the moment, they're obviously not. Natural selection is showing so. It's proving it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.